He said Crawford could find himself in trouble if he decides to engage.
You know, it takes Crawford a little bit more time than I would say Canelo.
But when he finds those moments, you can't be caught slipping. You can't be caught sleeping. You can't be caught in between, do I go in, do I go out?
Stephen A. Smith has set the boxing world on fire, ripping into the upcoming Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford mega fight. Meanwhile, Oshino said he would put his money on Terence Crawford despite him being the underdog. He explained his reasoning by pointing out that Floyd Mayweather had beaten Canelo with ace, and since Crawford remains undefeated, he believes Crawford has what it takes to come out on top.
If you bet on Canelo, you'd have to bet $180 to make the $100.
That's not that bad.
It's almost 2-to-1 odds.
Yeah, but
Almost.
Canelo stuff used to be way crazier than that.
Terence Crawford's no joke, though.
I mean, I would bet Terence Crawford on the fight.
So you would bet on Terence Crawford?
Yeah.
Why?
He never lost. Mayweather beat Canelo real easy. And I don't think Terence Crawford...
Mayweather
I know
beat
he was
Canelo
younger.
way
I know when he was
early
younger.
on. Way
I know he's
early
younger.
on.
But
plus, it's Mayweather.
listen, Law is Mayweather. He a cheat code. But I think if anybody can beat Canelo, it's Terence Crawford. I mean, I'm not betting against somebody that never lost.
However, he added that the real question will be whether Terence Crawford can withstand Canelo's punches. He also mentioned that this matchup has the potential to be one of the biggest fights in boxing history. Thank you for watching.
I mean, now if Terence Crawford take his punches, that's what we got to see.
Yeah, September 13th in Las Vegas.
That's gonna be the biggest fight ever,
It'll be on Netflix.
I think it's gonna be the biggest fight ever.
Yeah, Canelo's getting $150 million. Crawford's getting $50 million. Huge paydays for everyone involved.
Plus they gonna get probably back end money too.
Yeah.
But how does that work? Because it's not pay-per-view. Do they still...
Netflix putting up the money.
So I'm saying, so they don't get no back end then?
No, there is no back end. There's ticket sales.
Yeah, because you know pay-per-view, the back end is the most.
There's no pay-per-view.
I guess if you give me $50 million up front, I don't really care about the back end. You give me
but
150.
Netflix doesn't do back ends, period. Like even
so
on
he
movie
getting
deals.
3 times more than Terence Crawford? God damn.
On the other hand, Brian Mendoza admitted that his opinion on the matchup tends to change daily, but even so, he usually finds himself leaning toward Canelo. He explained that Canelo's size advantage and extensive experience competing in this division gave him the edge.
It's so, like, I feel like every day I'm almost kind of changing my opinion, but at the end of the day, I lean towards Canelo because of the size.
Yeah.
But I know the size thing isn't so, like, so obvious, I guess, because Crawford is bigger.
Right.
Crawford is heavy, you know, like he carries himself, you know, he's very solid right now. He's taller, you know, when you see in the face-off. So he is technically bigger. It's just the size it's very different when you carry that weight in the ring. Mm-hmm. That's what you got to worry about performing with. And, you know, just based off kind of like the performance at 154, although it was against a very solid fighter with Madrimov, I don't know if he's gonna be solid enough, you know, just used to carrying that type of weight around.
At the same time, Stephen A. Smith stated that he has no hesitation in picking Terence Crawford to beat Canelo Alvarez by decision. He explained that he does not see either fighter scoring a knockout in this matchup, which already sounds very orthodox to him given the size disparity.
You got a love for boxing.
Yes, love boxing.
Who gonna win the fight, man? That's coming up, the biggest
Crawford.
fight in boxing.
Crawford.
Huh?
Crawford. I'm not hesitating. Crawford. I'm not even hesitating. Crawford.
You gonna stand on that all the way to September 13th?
I love Canelo. Crawford will beat Canelo. Crawford will beat Canelo by decision. I can't see anybody knocking out Canelo Alvarez. But I do believe that if you can box and you can move, that you can beat Canelo. You can outpoint him.
However, Stephen commented that with Canelo it feels as though every punch carries knockout power, but in his view, that approach is not enough to beat Terence Crawford.
When I think about Canelo, one of the things that I don't like about Canelo, despite his greatness, and a neck as wide as Broadway for crying out loud,
Right.
It's like almost every shot has to be a power shot.
It's a power shot, yeah.
That's not beating Crawford. I will confess, I think Gervonta Davis's trainer, Cal, I think he said this. He said Crawford could find himself in trouble if he decides to engage.
Even so, Stephen Smith said he does not care that Crawford is bulked up and is now nearly equal in size to Canelo. He stressed that Canelo has been competing at this weight for years and is fully accustomed to it, even calling him a genius who never comes into a fight unprepared. Still, Smith argued that again, because Crawford is the faster fighter, he sees him outpointing Canelo and winning on the scorecards.
To engage. with Canelo because Canelo is the naturally bigger, strong fighter. And I don't care that Crawford's gotten bigger, and I don't care that Crawford's gonna go in there just as big as Canelo. Canelo is accustomed to fighting at the weight, and Crawford is not. And Canelo is a genius in this regard. You don't see him show up for fights not ready. He's always ready.
always prepared.
He's always ready.
gotta
He's
give him that.
always prepared. So I think he's the slower fighter though. And I think that Crawford is brilliant as a boxer. And I think that between switching to conventional and southpaw, using his jab and movement, I think that Crawford is going to outpoint Canelo because he's faster.
Adding to that, Timothy Bradley said he has been carefully studying both Canelo and Crawford and he believes this fight will be an extremely tough one. He predicted that the opening round would serve as a feeling out process for both men. Bradley explained that in the early rounds it will all come down to positioning, with each fighter looking to establish balance and find their rhythm before fully engaging.
Canelo been studying Crawford, man. Damn, this is gonna be a tough fight, man. It really is. Let me just get to it, man. I mean, you know, everybody wants a picture of how the first round is gonna go and how the course of the fight's gonna go, man. I see the first round being a fill-out round by both fighters. I think Canelo will try to control the center of the ring. I think he might even box a little bit on his toes, due to the fact because he wants to feel the punching power, and vice versa. Crawford wants to feel his punching power as well. You know, in the beginning, it's all the position balance. Like both guys are trying to get balance and trying to find their rhythm.
Moreover, Tim Bradley noted that it usually takes Crawford longer to get comfortable and settle into his rhythm compared to Canelo. He pointed out that Canelo, being an exceptional counterpuncher, can find his timing and rhythm much quicker and with greater ease.
It takes Crawford a little bit more time than I would say Canelo to get right to it. Canelo, although he is a prolific counterpuncher, fantastic counterpuncher, you know, he tends to find his spots a lot quicker. You know, and the indication of that is when, if you look at any of the boxers that Canelo has faced, Trout, even Danny Jacobs, even when he fought against Charlo, you just check out the first round. You know, he usually takes off, just feels the power, you know, cruises, you know, see what these guys know, a couple of feints, level changes, you know, gathering information, right? Crawford does the same and similar thing.
Similarly, Sean Potter stated that this matchup is a true 50-50 fight, noting that while both Canelo and Crawford have made mistakes in the past, no opponent has ever been able to capitalize on them. He emphasized that for the first time, both men are in a position where even the smallest mistake could decide the outcome.
I gotta keep it real. You're right. This is a 50-50 fight. This is a fight where, as I was telling the Uber driver this morning, these guys, we've seen them both make mistakes in the ring, but they've never cost them, right? This is the first fight that I believe they both are gonna get in the ring where the small mistake is actually a big mistake against the opposer. So Canelo making a small mistake is actually a big mistake because Crawford actually has the ability to somehow know that that mistake is about to happen, and boom, there it is.
Yeah.
Furthermore, he pointed out that Crawford often takes shots in the early rounds, and Canelo is the kind of fighter who wastes no time in throwing punches. He explained that Canelo will find openings to let his hands go, but when those moments come, Crawford cannot afford to be uncertain or hesitant with his movements or decisions.
Canelo, on the other hand, Crawford hasn't been known to get hit, especially early in fights. And Canelo is the kind of guy where, he's going to come out and let his hands go. He's going to find moments to let his hands go. But when he finds those moments, you can't be caught slipping. You can't be caught sleeping. You can't be caught in between, do I go in, do I go out? Make that small mistake against this guy right here, it becomes a monumental mistake. And that might be the last time you make a move that night. You know what I mean? What you think?
I see the same thing, and I worry about moments. Obviously, I feel like Crawford stays there too long sometimes.
Building on that, Potter emphasized Canelo's composure, noting that he never gets frustrated if an opponent takes a few early rounds. Instead, he highlighted how Canelo remains patient, focused on executing his full game plan, and ultimately finding a way to win the fight.
What we've seen come from Canelo is the patience. Something that I know from my own personal experience, a guy that shows a lot of patience and you don't bother him by winning rounds. I don't think Canelo's gonna get bothered by losing rounds. We saw it against Caleb Plant. We saw it against Billy Joe Saunders. We saw that against so I think if anything, Canelo would try to start fast and bang on him and break him down before he gets later, and he still got that kind of steam. But there's so many components that make a champion. There's so many components that make a great, a legend. It's just so much to go into. It's a conversation that lasts an hour easily when we talk about all of the components that Terence Crawford has, all of the components that Canelo have, and how we find how they even out and who trumps one another. You know what I mean? We tried to do that with Errol Spence and Terence Crawford, and we see how that panned out. All of a sudden, he turns it on and he gets the job done. The thing is here, when he decides to turn it on, he's got to move his feet. I think that his ability to stalk Crawford in a way that Crawford has literally never ever been stalked in the boxing ring as a professional on fight night is just different.
Likewise, Amir Khan shared his excitement about the matchup but admitted the announcement didn't catch him off guard. He explained that now, since there is a lot of foreign investment in boxing, the elites are expected to clash. And with the way the sport is shaping up right now, it only makes sense for top names to be paired against one another.
I don't think it's a bad fight, Sean. I mean, I think it's a good fight, and it's not a fight that shocked me, because you have to understand in boxing, the best are fighting the best. And, with the money that Turkey Sheikh's got now and pumped it into boxing, the best are going to have to fight the best. And we've seen some mega fights, for example, Usyk and Fury and Joshua and, all the top guys are fighting each other. So this is great to see that Turkey's making these fights happen that we never thought would happen. And for, sorry about that, guys, that noise. But I was just saying that I just feel that it's an amazing fight for boxing.
Drawing from his own experiences of sharing the ring with both men, Amir Khan underlined how crucial power is in keeping control during a fight. He pointed out that Canelo Alvarez carries tremendous strength, yet Terence Crawford also shows notable power and has consistently proven he can compete at the highest level.
You have to understand, I fought both guys at the peak of their career, and so did Sean fought Crawford at the peak of his career. I just feel that, with power is something that's going to stay with a fighter. For example, with Canelo is a very strong fighter. But then again, don't get me wrong, where I think Crawford can bang as well. Crawford is a strong puncher. See, as he's adding weight on and he put that muscle on, he's become a stronger fighter. See, back in the day when we used to see Crawford fight a lightweight or featherweight, we didn't really give him that respect and the power because we thought he's a good boxer, technical fighter. But then as he started putting weight on and went in the welterweight division, you can see he's carried that power with that weight and the muscle with that weight. So I see this fight, it's a hard fight to call, honestly, because it just depends.
Interestingly, Chris Algieri described Terence Crawford as a strong fighter who extends his punch rotation and lands effectively from different angles.
What seems to be like otherworldly strong, and when you talk to people, they all say that when they've shared the ring with them, and a lot of that comes from exactly what you're saying, Jimmy. Yes, he's a strong guy, but also he knows how to use his hips. He knows how to use these angles. He knows how to create space so he can have daylight and move guys around. I think that's gonna be really hard to do to Canelo, though. If he goes out there and is able to push Canelo off balance and move and push him around, I'll be really surprised. And if that's the case, then
it's gonna be a long night.
Not only do we have a real fight, but there's a really good chance that Crawford's gonna dominate the fight because Canelo is a very strong guy. And his base is really good, and that's why.
Moreover, he noted that Crawford is skilled at creating space and making opponents move, but admitted it will be a challenge for Crawford to push Canelo Alvarez onto the back foot.
And if Crawford goes out there and tries to make that his little first claim to victory, is trying to, push Canelo around a little bit, I don't know if that's a great idea, especially if it doesn't happen. If he's not able to do it, if he gets stopped dead because Canelo has a great base, that's going to make it for a long night for Team Crawford.
Furthermore, Abel Sanchez stated that for Terence Crawford to beat Canelo Alvarez, he has to be willing to take Canelo's punches while constantly pressing forward and keeping him busy.
In order, in my opinion, in order to beat Canelo, you're gonna have to be willing to take a shot and to press him and make sure that you keep him keep him busy and keep him backing up.
In addition, he stressed that applying pressure is the key, because if you can't back Canelo up, you won't beat him. Sanchez added that leaving Canelo on the outside is dangerous, as he will break you down, wear out your arms, and eventually force you to drop your guard.
Backing up. If you can't muscle him, if you can't be more effective than he is with his punches, and you push him back, then you're not going to beat him. You leave him on the outside, he's going to pick you apart. He's going to pound your arms. He's so damn strong, just like Gennady was. Guys like Bivol that were able to press him and be stronger than him and just keep activity on him. Those are the kind of guys that are going to beat him. Terrence, I don't care if he goes up to 200 pounds. It doesn't have that in time. Doesn't have that. If he would have done this, if he'd have fought 3 or 4 guys already at that weight and built up his work ethic and his strength by competing and by beating guys at that weight, then I could see it. But he's ballooned up to whatever it is that he is, which is, in my opinion, the worst thing he could have done. But then again, who am I to, again...
Similarly, Regis Pro Gray stated that while Terence Crawford has the skills to compete with Canelo Alvarez, size will always be a factor. He explained that Crawford may appear bigger during weigh-ins, but once the fight starts, the difference in natural size becomes clear, and that's something you can't feel when facing an opponent in the ring.
I feel like, man, really both of them. I was watching the skull fight the other night. You know, I think that Crawford has the ability to outbox Canelo. You gotta look at it. And then Canelo's older. Crawford has the ability, but he's small. You know, and he can look bigger Crawford could look bigger in the weigh-ins and all that stuff, but it's always a difference. When you get that fight with somebody, you can tell. Same thing with Jamel. Jamel fought him, the twin. He fought Crawford, and in all the stuff, the weigh-ins and the press conference, Jamel looked like the bigger man. You know, his head, his neck, everything looked bigger. But when they got in the fight, you can tell. You can see who really was the bigger man. And I think that's the same thing. Crawford is putting on weight, but it's not weight. Like Canelo had the weight already. He doesn't have to put on muscle. He doesn't have to do that. He's already big like that.
Agreeing to that, Tim Bradley stated that this is not the type of fight Crawford can win by simply keeping his distance. He explained that there will be moments where Crawford will be forced to engage in heavy exchanges with Canelo, and in those situations, he will need to put Canelo on the defensive while letting his combinations go.
This ain't gonna be no fight where Crawford gonna sit there and run all night. Hell to the no. Because he's not going to win this fight that way. He cannot. There's going to be moments where Crawford's going to have to fight this man. Yes, bag him up, put him on the defense, and he's going to have to do it with combinations similar to what Bivol was able to do. Okay? He's going to have to do that. You know, Canelo is going to come into this fight. If Crawford's expecting Canelo to be like he was for Skulls, he's not going to be that way. I know Crawford and his team, they're smart. They're going to have to prepare for the best Canelo Alvarez. I hope they're watching film on both his early days and the way he is now.
Echoing that perspective, Fernando Vargas Jr. stated that Crawford is the more skilled fighter while Canelo relies on strength. He noted that Canelo's power has declined over time as he no longer throws punches the way he once did.
He's a very skillful fighter, very smart. I've actually had the opportunity to spar with Crawford. And it's always respect between me and Crawford. You know, me and my family may not get along with the Davises or his stablemates. Yeah. But at the end of the day, whenever we see Crawford, he'll go out of his way to say hi to my dad, to myself. So it's always respect with him.
Right.
And I have a lot of respect for Crawford and what he's done. I just feel there's respective weight classes for a reason. You saw Canelo when he moved up to 175 when he fought Bivol. You saw what happened there.
Yeah.
And I just feel Crawford is one of the best fighters ever, and he could fight in any respective weight class. He could fight in any generation in his respective weight class. I feel Canelo's going to be too much. I feel in the early rounds, I feel he could catch him with shots. You know, maybe Canelo will get frustrated by picking him up the way Canelo always gets frustrated. But I just feel Canelo will find him out.
Nevertheless, Vargas Jr. emphasized that weight classes exist for a reason, and ultimately, he believes Canelo will simply be too much for Crawford to handle. He added that it all depends on whether Crawford can take Canelo's best punch.
I think in the 8th, 9th, 10th round, the championship rounds, I believe he could stop him, or if not, get him out of there. I just think it's the weight, bro. My whole thing is, can Crawford take Canelo's best punch? If he could do that, and he has to fight a perfect game plan, like Benavidez, but like Benavidez's dad said, it's gonna be a Tom and Jerry type of fight, which I feel it'll be a Tom and Jerry fight if Crawford wins. If he sits there and wants to, exchange with Canelo, I feel that's not the right game plan.
At the end of the day, opinions remain divided, and that's exactly what makes Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford such a monumental showdown. Some experts see Crawford's speed, adaptability, and undefeated record as the deciding factors, while others lean toward Canelo's size, power, and experience at the higher weights. But we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below, and we shall see you in the next video with more exciting updates. Till then, like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit the bell icon so you're notified every time we upload.